All right, guys, we're on the mic for another episode of Business Talk After Hours. I'm Mitch Beinhacker. I'm a business attorney in Clark, New Jersey, and I'm the host of the Accidental Entrepreneur podcast. With me today is my good friend Trevor Anderson, my other good friend Mike Manella, and again, our thoughts and prayers and wishes go out to Jeff with some things that he's got going on in his life. All right, Trevor, why don't you introduce yourself? Mike, you introduce yourself, and then he's your guest. So, Mike, you can talk about the guest, and we'll bring him in from the waiting room. Make sense?
Sounds great.
All right, Trevor, go ahead.
So, hey, guys, Trevor Anderson. I own TRJ Consulting Services. We do outside advisory work with CFO and COO part-time fractional basis. We work with small businesses all the way to startups, specifically in the startup scene, gearing towards angel investors and Series A raises.
I think I got to work on my intro. I think I got to work on my intro. I just am a business attorney in Clark, so I'll start expanding that other weeks. Go ahead, Mike.
Sounds great. Hello, everyone. Michael Manella. I'm a wealth advisor with Merrill Lynch. And really to sum up what I do is I help clients through financial transitions in their life, whether it's buying a business, selling a business, growing a business, retiring. So that's just a couple of examples, and just really become a trusted advisor and help them every step of the way pursue happiness.
Okay. And Mike, Tushar is your guest or Trevor's guest?
Mike's
guest. Okay. So you are our moderator for today. Why don't you introduce him, and then I'll bring him in from the waiting room.
Sounds great. So very happy to have today Tushar Patel. He is the owner of Harvest Bistro, which is in Madison, New Jersey. So basically it goes back to, it was a delicatessen back in, he bought the place in 1996. He named the local deli on the roll, and that's where a lot of people know the restaurant as. And he then changed the name to what is called today, which is Harvest Bistro. So he rebranded it. So really, really happy to have a discussion with him today based upon, one of the areas and one of the businesses that have really kind of, suffered during this pandemic. So and we'll have a great dialogue in regards to some of the things that he's doing right now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the things that he says. All right, let me bring him on. There he is. Tushar, welcome to the show. Mike gave you a little bit of intro, but maybe you want to introduce yourself a little bit, and then we're, anxious to hear all the things that are going on with COVID and how it's affecting your business in the industry. So,
hey guys, Tushar Patel here. I own Harvest Bistro in Madison, New Jersey. Been there for 24 years. First 21 was, as on a roll of gourmet deli catering, and then we evolved into more of a restaurant, a little more higher end quality food, and taking it to different heights in this new age as well, man. Things have been kind of crazy. I'm sure for everyone.
I'm sure.
Yeah, man. Let's get into the thick of this stuff.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, welcome to Tushar.
Thanks, Mike. Good to be here.
Great to have you. So you mentioned you've been there for 24 years, and I think recently you're on the roll and you switched over your name to Harvest Bistro, which it is today, right? Yes. About 4 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay, great. So, obviously, just coming from that background as well, being a, former restaurateur as well, and all the ups and downs, that restaurants face from, where we are from the economy, where, what the weather is like, what the demographics are in the area, always a ton of uncertainty, but, leading into this year, 2020, where everything's kind of shut down, that is, I'm sure has presented many, many challenges to your underlying business. So can you just tell us a little bit about, how you're able to kind of manage through that transition? Because obviously I'm sure you've seen a lot over the past 24 years. It's a long time to be in one place, but how have you started to really transition through this, especially too having to be closed for a period of time as well?
Well, you know what? Your last point, I didn't have to close one day, which is great. The only thing I did was shorten my hours and close one day during the week, which is Mondays, because we weren't generating any business that day.
Yeah.
But I tell everybody, the last 6 months have been the most difficult and the hardest time in this business. I've weathered through so many storms, stock market, 9/11, you're talking housing crash, you name it, and some personal stuff that I went through, which I consider, a major step forward. reinventing myself here. The last 6 months, pivoting, like if it's not daily, it's on the week to week, and because we don't know what's going on.
Right.
One day we can open up indoor at 25%, next day we can't. So like my heart goes out to all like the huge restaurants that that went out and spent a crazy amount of money to get things lined up for that, and then they were told they weren't able to. So it's just, I mean, it has been really difficult. But how we've been facing things is just by just trying to stay up on the top of things, redoing our menus. When we were told we can't have indoor dining, we can only strictly do takeout. So what do? We launch family meals to go, because why? Everyone's home, right?
Yep.
And so you got to feed the masses. You're not just feeding one person.
Right.
So we had to change our model that way. And then all the inventory that we had to pull it together and then condense it down from my pantry having over 100 supply items down to 25. Let's stick with these core 25 and max it out to however we can. We condensed our menus, so because we weren't offering anything,
Right.
and we had to throw out, because we had no control of that.
Yep.
So I mean, it's just on a week to week how we have to roll, unfortunately.
Yeah, this was like the first time where you're forced to do certain things. I mean, other times it's, economic slowdowns and people have other things going on in their life and in the world and their houses and 9/11 and the mortgage crisis. They just go out and spend less money, but it didn't force you to like change your whole business model overnight and say, well, how the hell are we going to make money now? And, the guys that I've seen that are surviving did just what you said. They trimmed their menu down. They went right to delivery and takeout and everything that they could do because, I'm sure I know, and you can verify it, the restaurant business is a tight margin business to begin with.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you have some dining in now?
We do. We're at 25%, which for my location is only 16 people. Yeah. So, thank God the weather's held up for the most.
Knock on wood.
It hasn't been a harsh fall.
Right.
We've had maybe 1 or 2 days that it rained that we couldn't open up our outdoor dining, and with the help of neighbors, I could still see 32 people outside.
Oh, you do have an area to do outside dining?
I had heat lamps outside.
Right.
Which really don't help.
Yeah, it's going to get harder as you get closer to November, right? Into November.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, we're hoping that, once, first week in November comes around, everything will open up somewhat.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I actually have a question, Tushar, with the communication, right? So, as business owner, I don't even know where we stand, like with phase 2 and 25 and 50%, like some people are not like, it's the communication's been tough. So do you get like a patch from Madison? Do you work with the local community?
Yeah. How are you staying
kind of
informed?
funnel in, just from my own understanding?
Yeah.
You know what? We pretty much, we're not getting, I'm in touch with our town, a lot.
Of course.
So we see a lot of different things happening in town. As far as from the governor's standpoint, obviously he addresses every day.
Right.
It's live every day. And then our local newspaper Patch or Tap Into Madison always has something, shooting out. We get emails here and there. So I'm always trying to, keep up on the current trends. But you know what? There's things that slip through, there's things that, we're not told about. And then all of a sudden, it just gets dropped on us like minutes before sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not trying to change our model too much. One of the greatest things is, catering has come back. People are starting to throw parties. So that's huge for me because, 65% of my business is based on catering.
Right.
I've
had clients over the years that without the catering, they'd be out of business. The restaurant was just like sampling other foods. You go for lunch.
Exactly. Yeah. So I learned that within like the first 6 to 8 months of business that, I was talking to one of the other restaurateurs and I said, how many sandwiches I would need to sell a month just to cover my rent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're talking thousands. Forget about payroll. Forget about, our insurances, which are out the roof as usual,
Yep.
So
a lot of sandwiches.
Yeah, it's a ton of sandwiches.
Yeah.
It really is, like, but
So have you found like who's doing the catering? Is it companies? Is it organizations? Is it like families during the holidays? Who's families, mostly families?
mostly families. I got a little touch with some, in the medical field, but mostly 90% is all families. They're starting to hold their events. Where my average size party 75 to 100,
They
we're
can't
doing
have that many, right? Yeah.
no, we're doing 30, max 50.
Yeah.
It's something. Am I making a killing? No, but I'm,
You're surviving.
yeah. Exactly. Like I consider this whole period, this year is just a pause on business.
Yeah.
Those that can stay afloat will, those that can't, unfortunately, will, have to close up
I mean, there's going
doors.
to be opportunities for some and
Yeah.
losses for others. That's just the way things work.
And
Yeah.
one of the greatest things is that, as much as my staff hates it, we have to pivot in so many different directions. But
Sure.
listen, we didn't have to lay off many people. We didn't have to, cut salaries. We didn't have to do a lot.
No, I was going to ask you that question. So you haven't had to lay off a lot of staff?
No.
That's good.
No. I mean, I'm a small operation to begin with, but
Yeah.
like, listen, my thing is, I forget about me. I take myself out of the equation. You know why? Because I'm at a place where, not getting too spiritual. My needs are met. Let's just say it that way, right?
Yeah, you're appreciative of what the journey
So
you've been on. Yeah.
yeah,
And a lot of these people just survive on tips, and it's hard in
Right.
the restaurant
So-
industry. Yeah.
and they're the heart of my operation. Without them, I can't do the things that I need to do.
Yeah.
So, like, I wouldn't be able to even sit here on this podcast. I'd be in the kitchen right now.
Right. I heard a bell go off. I didn't know if that was someone's food's
Yeah.
ready or something.
1 minute, I'll be right there.
Exactly. No, it's crazy.
One of the things I think about Tushar is, and we've had an opportunity, so I've eaten there. And I can tell you the food is amazing. Like everything I had there was great. I think I'd love to hear you talk about when we talk about the things that have happened. Like, I know for a fact Tushar has done a great job on the relationship with his landlord, and I think a lot of business owners can kind of really see a lot of value from what you've already done, Tushar. Like, I know you've been face forward, you've done community things. Like, you talk a little bit about that. I know you probably already had a great relationship prior to this, but I think it probably strengthened quite a bit, right, with the onslaught of the pandemic. So maybe kind of you can give us a little bit more color around that. That'd be great.
So, landlord, I have a great relationship. Been here 24 years. She and her sister, they approached us and said, "Listen, we're willing to work with you guys. We'll cut the rents down 50% for X amount of time, and then afterwards." But I'm behind. Hey,
Of course, everybody, the whole world's behind.
Yeah, the whole world's behind.
exactly. So, but they're working with me and they understand. And I tell them, I'm not going anywhere. And you know what? I've been in a hole before and I've dug myself out. And
Right.
here we are.
And a lot of it's communication, right? It's not like you hid from your landlord. You're talking to them.
No, I mean, we had a little, little tiff on the, texting, but I was like, listen, in the end of it, who's going to fill the spot?
Right. They couldn't even evict you if they wanted to because the courts are shut down. But
Yeah.
beyond that, that's the problem. You're going to evict everybody, right? Residential and commercial. Who's going to move back into these places?
Right.
Yeah.
There's no one.
Giant notes with no income.
Bite off your nose to spite your face, or whatever they cut off your nose to spite your face.
So it's a no-win situation, whichever way, any way you look at it.
Right.
So, and I throw, I'm doing what I can. I throw weekly if I have to. If not, then I throw a huge nugget, But, and then as far as our business community, it's remained pretty strong for the most part. I'm in contact with other restaurant owners in town, other businesses and
Have
stuff.
you done things to help the town and promote yourself with, I don't know, I've seen business owners do stuff for frontline workers. I've seen business owners,
we've done all of that.
Yeah.
We've done it all.
It's
We've
important.
There's an organization in Chatham, Madison called Flag 2020. Two women, great women. They immediately hit the pavement to keep funding restaurants and helping the frontline workers. Right. So they within, I forget, it was some astronomical amount. Like
Yeah.
within the first month, I think they raised over $100,000
Wow.
to give back to restaurants to help feed the first liners up in the hospitals and, first responders, whether it be the police department, the fire department, EMTs, all of that stuff, and it just a great, and that thing just funneled out. I believe there's probably close to 100 different, flag organizations now in the nation,
Yeah.
that just, kept feeding off from this.
Right. Yeah. No, I
Wow.
mean, I don't know if it's a silver lining, but it's kind of what we do when things are at their worst.
Yeah, right.
We're kind of at their best,
So there's,
You got a sandwich for us?
yeah, I do.
Oh, cool. Virtual sandwich. We're all going to be hungry.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry. Definitely getting hungry. Your food is absolutely delicious. So question for you on the takeout. How is the takeout part of your business going versus what it looked like, say last year at this
Is that
time?
like profitable part of the business? I mean,
It's more costly, that's for sure, because, and it's probably right now, takeout is probably about 70% of the business.
Yeah.
And Trevor and I spoke about adding these little percentages costs because everything's going up and
that's
price.
hard though. Your competitors aren't doing it,
No, but I haven't raised prices.
Right.
I bite my lip every time I see
COVID pricing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
exactly.
shooting yourself in the head.
Yeah, and the next thing you know, I'm gonna get a big write up in town. Oh, I can't believe this guy's charging an extra 5%. All this
That's
stuff.
not even worth it. Yeah.
No, it's not. And again, am I trying to make millions off of this COVID thing? No, but I'm just trying to stay afloat.
Right.
So some things you can increase in price, and then some things you just gotta, like I said, bite your tongue. What we have done is worked with, another business in town that wasn't going to be able to open, a little coffee shop kind of place that was at the train station. So I told him to turn his operation and open up here. I don't do
Nice.
much of coffee business.
Right.
And
But it helps each other.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's only open 7 to 11. I'm not doing it. And if we're doing any business 7 to 11, it's working on an order to
In the
send it.
morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he comes here, he's a great guy. He's the town Santa. He's
Yeah.
been
You can't pass that guy up. You got to help Santa.
No, but I looked at it a couple different ways, helping another business owner, and then I'm getting in touch with another group of people that weren't coming into my place because they were getting coffee at train station hitting Manhattan
Right.
to go work. But now you see, I'm seeing a ton of new faces in town, which brings our Harvest Bistro brand awareness even greater.
Sure. Well, people aren't leaving the town during the day. They're not
Yeah.
going to the city.
Yeah. So people that normally wouldn't order from us are ordering from us, so it's good and bad, I choose to look at always the better side of things, 80% good, 20% bad, because if I stay in that bad area and let that percentage
You're
come
going to
up,
self-implode. Yeah. You just fall apart.
exactly.
That's why a lot of these people are having problems and they're depressed and they can't, they
Right.
don't pivot.
No,
I think there's going to be a lot of things that we see though, Tushar, in going forward that are there's going to be things that stay the same. It's going to be a long time. I mean, there'll be a point where you can open up fully, but people
Right.
are still going to be uncomfortable with things going out in public with crowded spaces when there's no, whatever treatment or vaccine or, that type of stuff. So we're probably looking for a while. So hopefully the catering business and the takeout business, it'll all combine to, making a whole restaurant.
right. So check this out. So I sat in a board meeting the other day from one of the non-profits I'm on, and we talked about habits, right? So this whole thing has created a habit in the human person,
Big time.
right?
Yeah.
So it takes X amount of time to build a habit. It takes X amount of time to break a habit,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So we're over 6 months in this.
We're in habits. We don't
Yeah.
leave without a mask. You don't
Yep.
forget anymore.
So
Yeah.
how long is it going to take now to break this habit, right?
Yeah. Especially with the
Yeah.
fear involved. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what that habit is created, fear,
Yeah.
which is the worst thing because that'll tear the person apart.
Yep. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
definitely a big problem. But I think as time goes on, people go to restaurants and they get out there and there aren't any outbreaks and the habit will change. Like you said, people will become more comfortable. They will forget what it was like when they were afraid, and they'll start to, but I have a feeling you're going to have that tent set up for a while. Maybe you can't use it in December, January, and February, but by the springtime, I'm sure it's still going to be there.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Do you have like sidewalk in area or a part of a parking lot, or how do you have it set up?
I'm on Main Street, so sidewalk, which is great. And we're on we have the larger side of the sidewalk too. So like I said, I can fit 30
more room. Now, were you always allowed sidewalk eating, or is that okay? So they did allow that.
Normally, I can only do about 12 to 16 within my, my
right.
perimeter.
But they temporarily changed the ordinance.
Yeah, they changed the ordinance and they're working with us. They've set up some parking lots with huge tents for other restaurants. And then they're closing down a little section in Madison on Friday nights. Weather permitting and all. So
yeah. Now I'm not as familiar with Madison as I am with Westfield, where I live. But are there permanent closings? A lot people that just aren't going to open up again.
It's not that bad.
Okay, that's good to hear.
I thought it was going to be a whole lot worse. A couple places closed down. Some retail closed down.
Yeah. I mean, some cases people are older and they've been thinking about retiring anyway, but
yeah. Some have just gone to a virtual,
Yeah.
And ship
online.
it. Yeah. Online and ship it,
Yeah.
But
That's probably going to be more what happens to retail. They won't have inventory. It's all logistics. You go, you look at the thing, you buy it, it'll be at your house in 3 hours,
Exactly.
You can't do that with food. So
Well, I mean, I just saw the other day that Amazon, I think it was Amazon had FAA drone delivery.
they're starting to do that?
They've been talking about it for a while. And I think what you're going to find is now that everyone's being forced to do catering, delivering, there's going to be new processes that come out. There's going to be a different way. It's not like you did it for your majority of your business. Now, after a year, you start to figure things out. You're like, hey, if I do this, it shaves a minute over, so many rides equates to X, Y, and Z dollars back in the pocket. So especially if drones become a little bit more.
I don't understand that whole drone thing. Couldn't like we get a gun and shoot the drone down and you get whatever's coming over your neighborhood?
I guess theoretically, you can do anything to anyone delivering anything to your house.
Well, I mean, you're going to shoot the driver. That's probably more of a, I don't think you're going to do
I'm
that.
never coming to your house. All right. No one ever go to Mitch's.
Oh, well, I got guns on the roof. I'm shooting down those drones. That's what's going to happen.
But I mean, think about it. If you have something and you can get it from, West Coast to East Coast in a matter of hours.
That could be ridiculous.
What do you even need inventory anymore?
Right.
With warehouse becomes obsolete. Yeah. Boom, let me go. I'll get it from here. There's going to be gigantic hubs and that's it.
Right. Well, Tushar, it's good you're in an industry that's not like that because we like to dine out. We want the experience of going and eating other people's cuisine and cooking and, that's not going to go away. I mean, people will eventually, they're hungry. And like you said, they're still doing takeout because they want your food. So I think you have that advantage. Your industry has that advantage. The restaurants aren't going away. Well, some of them may go away and then other ones will come back. But So I was wondering what your, do you have some strategic long-term planning? We're big on like business planning here and planning things out. And, now resiliency kind of has to be part of the plan, right? For the next time this stuff happens. But, what kind of plans are you putting in place for the future? Because look, we all know that inside of 12 months, this probably is not going to change. I mean, they'll allow you to have more people in the restaurant, but I don't know how people's feelings will change. Like you said, well, what kind of strategic plans are you working on in terms of the future and getting through this?
It's pretty much nothing major is set right now. I'm looking for the next phase for what we can open up and how much larger of events we can do.
They haven't even given a date for 50%, right?
No, nothing. So I think once we get a clearer picture of that, then I can do a little more on the projecting of what we can.
Yeah, it's hard to do planning right now. Yeah.
Because, we're coming into high season now with catering.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, we get to like 50 to 75% capacity indoors and, we can do some of our larger events that we have done in the past. So with that, with the hope of that coming up, I think from there, then I'll start drawing up a plan for what's
it's harder to do planning because it's so uncertain and nobody's giving you guidance and whatever.
Yeah. Because I could sit there and, hey, here we go. Plan A, B, C, D. All of that could just get thrown
out the window. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure. Do we even know, guys? And maybe Tushar knows more than we do. like what the criteria is that gets you to that the governor says, "Oh, green light, we can do 50%." Anybody know that?
We should be already.
Listen,
Right.
I'm going to be out there. Did they even know? I mean, think
I
about.
guess they don't. I don't understand. We have all these outbreaks in New Jersey. I'm just trying to figure out. It's like punishing the local business owner.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Tushar, you could speak about it. Think about when we went to 25, right? Or indoor was going to start. You did some work, and they're like, no, the day before, right? I think it was that weekend. I mean, that's why these entrepreneurs and business owners can't make that far of a plan out because
And then you got to throw out food, right? Stuff you bought, you were ready. What was that? There was like some pictures down the shore, and then he shut down the whole state. That was
game over. Yeah.
That was dumb. So I don't know what's going to take. I mean, you'd think that they would be like, listen, we're aiming for 50% November 1st because we know it's going to be cold and this and that. And this is what has to happen. I don't understand why they can't be transparent about it.
Well, here they came up with a plan a few months back, right? And I think they let the public see it, and they didn't follow through with one thing with it.
Yeah, so they don't even want to commit to following through because
No.
then they get criticized. So they're not saying anything.
Right.
Well, maybe marijuana will be legal by January, so we'll be smoking pot and we'll be like, well, relaxed about it anyway. So you realize that a referendum like that creates a major problem because what you're doing is you're changing the Constitution that makes it legal like day one. There's no regulation. People could just sell marijuana. There's no laws in place. It's not like where the state says, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to pass a law. We're going to have regulation and there's a tax and you have to be licensed. That's not what's happening here. What's happening here is they're changing the Constitution saying it's legal.
Yeah.
And there's no license. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a shit show. You can do a little, dispensary out of the back of your store. People will eat more food.
Exactly.
You're right. Exactly.
Sell a ton of pop brownies or something.
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm sure you can sprinkle some magic on all the food and people will be like, that was the best meal I've ever had. I'm going back there every day this week.
Yeah, right.
So I know Tushar's busy. I'm sure he's getting ready for the lunch crowd, but you guys, Mike, you got any final questions or comments or thoughts or ask the guru?
So catering. Where are you doing a lot of these catering? Is it more at homes? Where exactly are
No,
they?
he was saying it's more at homes.
Yeah,
'cause,
residential. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, residential. Like I did an event in up in the Finger Lake area. A couple weeks ago.
How did you? That's up. I went to Cornell. That's how are you catering to the Finger Lakes? Is that that might be a drone delivery? What the hell?
Education up there.
For people listening, that's far.
Yeah, it's 3 hours here. It's not bad.
Okay, it must have been a big delivery charge.
Driving a lot, so when that business was going, like again, we did some stuff at Cornell. We did a lot of weddings up there, a lot of private parties, on the lake homes.
So these are people that like know you from here, and they're like, well, we want Harvest Bistro to cater, and then you send a truck up 4 hours away or 3 hours away, whatever.
Yeah, they know me up there too, so. Like I said, I had a small catering outfit up there.
Okay.
Which we're not conducting business this year up there.
Yeah.
But I have some faithful families that have used me. This is like I did a wedding. This is the 4th wedding I did for the family. So I had 180 people. It was great. So
it was big enough that you're going to load a truck and drive up there.
Yeah. So I have the use of a facility up there, which is great. So
no sandwich deliveries to Ithaca.
No.
Exactly. Well, it's a $350 delivery charge, and the sandwich is $6.50. Oh, okay. What are you saying, Trev?
I said I'm waiting on that delivery to come down my way. Like where I get that
sure.
prime, the food that I like from Harvest Bistro down in Wall, New Jersey.
I'm sure you get it. You just got to pay.
Yeah, well, I've said to him a few times already. Hey, give me a date, and we'll do it. We'll make it happen.
Exactly.
Well, we all promised we'd get together for lunch soon enough where we could do it. So maybe we'll swing over to Madison, and Trevor will drive up, and we'll come by for lunch.
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, I'd love to. I mean, I come there any day of the week for Tushar. The restaurant's great. One of the things I do have a question is kind of like as we get through the end of this, Tushar, is next, like what's the future look like for Harvest Bistro, and what's your kind of thought process,
Hey, that's good
without
stuff.
COVID? Is that a without COVID question or with COVID?
It can't be without COVID because we're in the midst of COVID.
Right,
but
I guess
really, I know we've talked about on the side a bunch of different things, right? So
A hub location, right? And then having like 10, 12 satellite stores coming out of that, you know, I think that's, something that's been on my heart for a long time.
Building a chain or franchising?
Building a chain, just, an internal chain first, and then seeing what we could do down the line. We would have, we'd scale back. Our hub would handle most of, what we're looking to push out.
Yeah.
And then, each satellite location can come by, pick up what they need, all within, 45-minute drive. I think it's something that's, to control the quality of the food and content, and also like, with a lot of places that aren't going to be, that will be going out of business.
There'll be opportunities, right? Cheap leases and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we can capitalize on things like that.
Right.
What I'm doing right now is I'm working with an ex-Jet player, Nick Mangold. He's got his own barbecue sauce. So today's our first day. We're doing family style meals, featuring his barbecue sauce. So, and
that's a good way to do collaborations. Yeah. I'd love to talk to you about it offline. I have a couple of clients that do things like that. Ironically, one's been a restaurant who knows Rex Ryan. I don't know why the Jet thing keeps coming up, but I know we're working on a concept and a chain and licensing and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I think that's forward thinking. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then the other thing, another thing I'm also looking into is bottling our dressings, marinades.
Mm-hmm.
And a dip line too.
Yeah, definitely. Trademarking. Yeah, I'll reach out to you separately. I'm actually working on a tequila with him, and you can't imagine dealing with Mexico and the rules. And my God, Mexico's like real particular.
Yeah, definitely talk to me, because it might be the same person we're talking about, or you're talking about.
I don't think so, but it might be, because I would probably have mentioned before. I mean, it's all great. Any like parting words? Like, do you have any like advice for other restaurateurs who might be listening to this and struggling?
Listen, don't be defeated by this. Number one, right? Don't get depressed over it. Reach out to other restaurateurs, reach out to your other business community, collaborate with other people. There's a way, and you don't have to make millions. You just have to stay, afloat during this time.
Yeah.
It'll all come back.
Right. Yeah.
So that, and that's what I've been doing. The first thing was like, I panicked for like 2-3 days, right? When it first happened.
Yeah.
And then boom, I gathered, I sat down, I got my thoughts together. I contacted all my resources, people I know in the business world, people I know that are around me, a group of men that I counsel with, and stuff like that. I'm like, what are we doing? We need to talk about stuff for, personal, business, financial, all this stuff. And you know what happened? When you start talking about it, it takes the burden off yourself.
Definitely.
Sure.
Because you're voicing your opinions, your grievances to others, and those that have your back are going to help you through this time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, the use of advisory boards and mentors is definitely a topic for another discussion, because it's something that the really smart guys do. Can't make all decisions yourself. So good advice for people that are listening. Absolutely. Well, Tushar, I appreciate you coming on. Mike, thanks for bringing him on. Now I'm starving. Tushar. I got to go find some food. So, and we'll make a road trip.
Yeah. Thank you for joining, Tushar, and great piece of advice. Especially to having a sounding board, which so many business owners don't. So I think that's great advice.
And we wish you luck, and we'll definitely come by and chow down some food.
Awesome.
All right. Take care, Tushar.
All right. Pleasure.
Okay.
Well.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Okay. So that was a great one. I mean, because, everything's relative to what's going on in the world. I think his comment about, not really doing too much planning is unfortunately the reality of things, right? Because you waste a lot of time doing strategic planning, and then the governor comes out and changes some other rule.
It's so unknown. Yeah. It's changing on
outbreak in Madison, and he's got to close. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he said some great things about, partnering with the landlord, looking towards the horizon. Like, he didn't have a bleak outlook. I mean, he was realistic, and he's like, listen, this is what I want to do. And I think as a business owner, that's what they should be doing right now.
Right.
where they can be and how
I think collaborations are good too. I think that
Exactly.
you're helping each other, and then there's a lot of interesting combinations that nobody really thought of before. Like you brought the coffee guy in, now he's meeting other
Yeah.
people, and he wasn't using his restaurant in the morning anyway, right? He doesn't serve
Yeah.
breakfast, does he? No.
No.
Yeah.
But I mean,
so-
all around, that was just, first off, it's helping some
right. That's just
another
out of the
fellow-
goodness of his heart, right?
Exactly. On number one, and number two, you're bringing people into the restaurant that maybe have never been to the restaurant before.
Yeah, exactly.
So
He
I
gives
think
him
it's
a
just
coupon.
yeah.
Here's a coupon. Come back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have a whole show on that about how
Yeah.
people don't take advantage of the people that are walking through their door. I love that one.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I've said that before, right? Where the fishbowl's there and you come to a restaurant, you put your card to win the lunch. If you don't win the lunch, you never hear from the restaurant. It's like these people like are they're going to your place. They're raising their hand saying, we're trying out your food.
I know. Here's
You
a
know,
physical piece of
Right.
contact for us.
Right.
And it's
You
like,
don't
well,
do
you didn't-
anything.
you never hear from us again.
Exactly. And I've seen those restaurants disappear. So anyway, today was a good one. And we got to work on 2-3 weeks from now, whenever we're scheduled for the next topic. But this was good because people can relate to this. Sometimes we get technical on stuff that you and I and all three of us are into, and maybe it's a little above people's heads, but this was good because it's local. And I just want to tell people, and we'll put it in the show notes. So Tushar Patel, it's Harvest Bistro, right? It's in Madison, New Jersey.
Right on Main Street. there.
Apparently he caters way upstate New York if you have a big enough event.
Apparently he'll go to LA if you can make it, if it's a big.
Exactly. You want to pay him $1,200 plus
There
the
you go.
airfare, they'll bring you a sandwich. But I think that's pretty funny. And yeah, they do take out stuff. So we'll put it all in the show notes. So guys, this has been a great one. I'm going to end it here and let's stick around for a second.
Perfect.
All right. Say goodbye, guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.